Hey guys, how's it all going? Well, another week's gone by. Who we got here? Oh, Josh Homan. Hey, good to see you here, man. Don's Manufacturing. Oh, welcome along, man. Hello from 90 PDX. What's 90 PDX? Do tell. Alright. So, what's new with all you guys? You need to talk to me. Give me some questions. Give me some comments. What's happening? What's been happening? Been busy in the shop. I know that. There's lots of stuff going on. So, yeah, working on project Swiss cheese again. Just been getting in the firewall and the new cowl, upper and lower cowl panel. So got that wrapped up today, and was kind of halfway through putting the video together, and I had to stop and come and talk with you guys. So yeah, I don't think that'll be going out tonight, but that'll be that should hit the airwaves tomorrow. Yeah, it's starting to kind of look like a car again now. And now that the cow's all back in, I can actually get that front subframe assembly, that Mustang Stafia front subframe assembly, which I'm kind of looking forward to doing. That it's something I've not done before, so which doesn't happen that often these days. There's it's a lot of what I do is I've done before, so it's nice. It's changed as good as a rest, as they say. Unfinished project. Welcome. Yeah. Yes. Bourbon. Yep. Absolutely. To be fair, that's got to last me 2 hours, so you can't call me a drunk just yet. But I'm working on it. Oh, the other thing that did happen today is springs finally arrived for the Falcon, the good old '66 Falcon with the sagging rear end. Yeah, so yeah, got some springs from General Springs. They're the 4-pack springs, not the 3-pack. So we're just going to put them in and see how it works. If it's way too high, we'll take a leaf out or do something. Haven't quite figured that bit out yet, but we'll get there. Roy Miller, hey Roy, good to have you here. George Kakula, good evening, sir. Welcome along. Gosh, a lot of reflection from these glasses, isn't there? I might have to change the lighting in here, I think. But hopefully the sound's good. Hopefully we got good sound. It's yeah. Unfinished project. I'll break out the bottle when I get home and have one with you. Well, yeah, good. That'll be cool. How far away is home for you? Are you on the same similar time zone, or where are you at? Unfinished. Okay. So if anyone's wondering, we have I think it's a 57. Yes, 57 Turnpike Cruiser. Let's see. Oh, official pace car. So we got that one, yeah. And a 57 Plymouth. That's just a little cheapy, but it's a bit of fun. All right, what else is going on, guys? Not too much. Come on, we've got 18 of you in the room. Someone's must have some questions. Oh, East Coast, 8:03, driving home. Wow, you're working late, man. So you're an hour East Coast, yeah. Josh H, howdy, welcome along. So we got a Josh Homan and a Josh H in the room. Very cool. So I guess we talk about the shop. What else we got coming up? I've got kind of 9 inches just laying around the place, taking up room, and yeah, we got a 9 inch has arrived for the Casper project. So very in the next few days, hopefully, we'll be starting to mock up the rear suspension for that. That's a Scott's Hot Rods 6-link. So it's a 4-link, the conventional parallel bar 4-link with a Watts linkage, which across the back instead of a Panhard bar. So that gives you your extra 2 to give you a 6-link. Unfinished project, 14 hours. Man, that's a long day. 14 hours. That's brutal. That's brutal. Don's Manufacturing. Nothing going on in my 66 Stang. Just finished a 60-day house remodel. Well, it could have taken a lot longer. Some remodels take years. Josh H. Have any roof skin work coming up? Need some pointers. Not roof skin work, no. But yeah, roof skin is really not much different to any other sheet metal on the car. But yeah, it's there's certainly some sheet metal work coming up on this Swiss cheese project. We've got to get this front subframe in, and then it'll be onto the rear quarters and wheel tub. So, and yeah, there's definitely going to be some sheet work going on there, sheet metal work. 2, 3, 5, 6, bony fingers. 2, 3, 5, 60, 14 on a 6-inch. What's your opinion? That's about as narrow as you'd want to go. You're going to have a fairly bulgy sidewalls on a 6-inch with 235s. But it won't be too bad. But it'll probably be better on a 7-inch. But you'll get away with a 6-inch. Unfinished project. What's the next upgrade plan for March? Yeah, I've been kind of umming and ahhing about that. I want to do some work on the interior. It's like that drive the other day. It's getting better and better. We've got the exhaust all sealed up now. The exhaust manifolds are not leaking anymore, but it's still just noisy. And the exhaust is quiet, but and the big change that's made is the exhaust is quiet. Now you hear all the other noises that the exhaust used to drown out. So, and it kind of wears, well, it does on me anyway. Maybe when I was 20-something, the noise didn't matter so much, but it kind of wears on me a little bit now. So I want to get, some carpet, some sound deadening, some headliner, that kind of thing in it. But to do anything carpet-wise, I've got to work on the floors. So, there's most of you who watch the steering box upgrade will have seen just how big the holes in the driver's side floor are. And there's more holes on the passenger front and on the passenger rear kind of footwell area. So I need to get that addressed, and then we can put some sound deadening on the floor and some carpets and stuff like that, and just make it so you can kind of hear yourself think. But really, especially with nothing in the headlining, that really is just a drum. So yeah, I think that's the next thing. Probably floors, and then some interior work. Steve Sadusky, hello, welcome along, sir. Gypsy J rides. Have you considered building a body from scratch based on AI design? I have not considered that. I'll be honest with you, no. I mean, that's my passion is custom stuff, but I'll be honest, it's usually customizing something existing, and improving it or changing it, or wider, longer, lower, something. But from scratch, yeah, that's a real time investment, and time's something I'm struggling with at the moment. I'll be honest with you guys, like just getting to my cars, getting to my wife's car, is and getting to all the customer cars is a struggle at the moment. I'll be honest with you, it's just not enough time. But yeah, that would certainly be fun to do, especially if you could get with the right AI, right designer who's good on AI and could kind of create something pretty cool. It's an interesting prospect. Yeah. Chris Cadman, hello, buddy. Welcome along. Unfinished project. I struggle with time also. Yeah. And I just, some days I think, I'll work late. I'll stay to 8 or 9 o'clock, and it doesn't seem to happen. Like I get to 5 or 6 o'clock and I'm kind of done. Might be a little bit better in winter when it's not so hot during the day. The heat kind of takes it out of me. So, but I also have Mrs. Kiwi at home, going like, when the heck are you coming home? So I get a little bit of that, which is fair. Don's Manufacturing. Which master cylinder do you prefer to upgrade a 6016? Really the Woolwood master cylinder, just because it looks good. Otherwise, it's kind of much of a muchness, really. For a 66, probably like a 67, 68, tandem master cylinder, if you want something pretty cost effective, will work just nicely. The first of the Mustangs that had the tandem master cylinder, that's just a simple bolt-in. But if you want something that has a little bit more bling to it, then the Woolwood master cylinder is the way to go. It just looks good. And various bore sizes, like when you just choose your bore size that you need for the master, and then they will have it. So it's not a matter of searching through the different models of Fords to try and find a bore size off a Ford, something that suits the bore size you need. But definitely a tandem as opposed to a single, definitely. That's another thing I've got on the cards for Marge is a power booster and a tandem master cylinder. I definitely want to do that. Some people really hate on the single master, and they're really not so bad. Like, literally millions of cars had single reservoir master cylinders, and they worked quite well, and everyone didn't die driving them. Like, some people get a little carried away with how bad they believe they are, and it's just maintenance. Like, if your master cylinder's old and you've never flushed your fluid, and then you're kind of living on borrowed time. But you can replace a master cylinder before it actually fails. You can know it's old, and obviously checking your fluid levels every now and again. We'll tell you a story of suddenly, if you check it once a month and then 1 month fluid levels drop by 50%, and then it's like, ooh, something's going on. They don't have a warning light for you, so you've actually got to kind of make some time and pull the cap off and have a look and inspect it. And if you've got a single master cylinder, then you owe it to yourself to keep an eye on it, to check on it. And that was something that people used to do in the good old days, as we like to call them. The good old days was a lot more hands-on. I think the most maintenance a lot of people do these days is putting gas in the tank. Yeah. So Gypsy J Rise, Ray Shiner from Pro Shaper Workshop has been posting some design on his Facebook page. 1 hour a week on a project for a YouTube video, and next thing you know, yep. I'll go and check him out. New F Dog 45. Hi, nice shirt. Go Lando, go. Yes, McLaren. Oop, wrong side. McLaren, yes, because McLaren has is a Kiwi company originally. McLaren was born in New Zealand, So yeah, always pretty proud of that. I've got a couple of McLaren shirts, and yeah, another example of a very clever Kiwi who set out and I can't say conquered the world, but he had a hell of an impact on motor racing, motorsport, or the automotive world, and yeah. Quite a lot of history with McLaren, and it's so awesome to see them just come from, like, can't say come from nowhere, but come from fairly well down the field the last few years. They've not been really a factor. They really were one of the also rans, and now like they're a good shot to win any given weekend that they're racing. If they start the race, there's a pretty fair chance they're going to win it. So yeah, it's very nice to see. Don's Manufacturing. My Stang has run on a single for 300,000 miles. It's always given me warning before failure. Well, there you go. We were on the same page, Don. A lot of those, when people just lose their brakes, it's not listening to their car, so to speak. Not the car doesn't. Old cars don't talk to you, but they do talk to you if you listen and you know the language. They will, as you say, they'll give you a little bit of warning. So they're really not that bad. But obviously the dual is an improvement. It is an improvement. You can't say it's not. But I tell you what, if you've driven a car with a tandem master cylinder that has lost its brakes, what you get left with is not a lot. It is not. Having a dual master is not a guarantee that you're not going to run into the back of the car in front of you when you lose your brakes, because it gives you some brakes, but it's been my experience that it's about 25% of what you're used to, which is fine if you're coasting to a halt. But if you're in a hurry to stop, you ain't going to stop. Now, what else we got? That sound of ice clinking in the glass, it's a great sound. Yes, it is. It's music, isn't it? Gypsy J writes, Britain was a clever Kiwi too. He was. He really was. He was taken too soon. But yeah, he just rocked the motorcycling world. His ideas that he came up with for that Britain, he just blew everyone out of the water. He was, and making everything like himself. He was. Some people say he was like on the spectrum. He was so clever. He was like a little odd at times, and he didn't always interact with people as fluently as some motorsport commentators might have, for instance. But he was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And what do we got? Don't care to. Evening, Kiwi. It's a lot of work all week on cars to make content for YouTube. Good for you. I don't have the patience all the time. Yeah, it's it's another thing to do when you get home. Is stitch these videos together. And but I'm not complaining, because I do enjoy doing the videos, and I enjoy the feedback I get from you guys on the videos, and trying to figure out what it is you like and what it is you don't really like. And it's added another dynamic to my week, is trying to put out 2 or 3 videos and trying to put out good ones that you guys find interesting. So, but yeah, some days it's like, sometimes you had a long, hard, hot day, and things haven't gone your way, and you should really be putting a video out, and it's like, to heck with it. Like, you just, you guys are just going to have to wait another day, which is why sometimes I'll go a little bit longer than others. Like, I'm not terribly consistent on like, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. It's like, yeah, the best I can do is like try and get 2 or 3 videos a week out, and yeah. And some weeks it's easier. Sometimes you have a car come in, and it'll take you 15 minutes to video a 15-minute video, YouTube video. It'll and like you just turn the camera on, you do your thing, and that's it. You basically just put some start, a title, and it's done. It can be really quick sometimes, and then other times you're trying to string together 10 or more video pieces in together and try and make it make sense and put it out. So yeah, but it's fun. It's something new, It's something when you get to my age, or like when you've done a lot of stuff in automotive stuff, it's nice to have something different, something a bit new. So yeah. Chris Cadman got a 63 Galaxy 500 352 FE. Very clean. Any issues with them? No, not that I'm aware of. No. A good engine, not a stunning performer. Sorry to say, but very capable, very torquey. Yeah. The 351 Windsor or Cleveland is technically a better motor, but they weren't really around in '63. So yeah, a good motor. Yeah, stump puller, great for lugging around a big old heavy Galaxy. Holly Buckley, Phil from Perth, welcome along. Chris Freemesser, welcome along. 6th Street Garage, howdy man, how you doing? Steve Sadusky, hey Kiwi, I haven't seen your mascot lately in your videos. No, I keep forgetting him. Yeah, I need to get him back in there. I did a couple of videos back, I remembered, and then yeah, it's there's so much going on at the moment. It's a little bit of a test of my limited brain capacity, and I make the video and then think, oh, I should have had Kevin there, but yeah. Chris Freemasson, Kev's still in jail, another DUI. Yeah, that's it. No, Kev's not getting thrown away, Josh. No, never. I'd be in real trouble if I did that. Yep, bourbon clinking, but yep. It's John M. Don's Manufactory. I only do 1 video a week. Haven't done any while working on the house. Yeah, well, I mean, if you're working strictly on the house, that's going to cramp your content. There's not going to be a lot of content, but I'm sure everyone's eagerly awaiting a new video from you, sir. Josh Homan, yes, good evening to all that arrived later. Yeah, the room's filling up. We've got 46 of you guys here. Fitzgeralding, how are you, mate? Looks like a hurricane's going right over us here in Fitzgerald, Georgia. Yeah, it looks pretty wild down that way. Wayne Buzzell, do like your order, add bourbon to water. Yeah. Unfinished project, your 557 66 Mustang would make a great video. Now, I have done a video on that car, and it was probably, over 12 months ago. Now, I mean, I'm quite happy to do another one if you're interested. I guess we should, I didn't have a test drive in that video, which was probably lacking from that video. But yeah, I would get my wife to sit in and come for the ride along and do the video, but yeah, she wouldn't. She's a bit terrified of that car, which, I mean, it's a scary car. So yeah, maybe I'll get it to work one day, and we'll take you guys. I'll throw Steve in the passenger seat, and we'll take you guys for a test drive. Johnny, apparently so Kevin to your shoulder, problem solved. Yes, well, yeah, roll out the pirate jokes. Yes, everyone likes the stuffed bird. Yeah, they really do seem to. It's quite funny that. Yeah, I need to get them back in the videos. Nick Hendricks. Oh, hey, buddy. How you doing? Evening, Chris and everyone. Sorry, can't hang around and have to pay the bills. Yeah, you got to get them bills paid. Chris Freemesser, you talking about the KSV 9000? Yes, we're talking about the KSV 9000. Yeah, unfinished projects. Yes, we need more. Need more of the KSV? Is that what you mean, unfinished? Urkost, hey, how you doing, buddy? Yo, Kiwi, tuning in with a glass of Jack Black. Your recent Corvette video was sweet. That's a nice little car, that one. That is a nice little car. And I was surprised at how nice it drove. It's the first one of those I've driven, and it's cramped, but there was a reasonable amount of room. There's more room than like a 56 T-Bird. You know, that what were they, 55, 6, 7 T-Birds. There's more room in the Corvette than there was in the T-Bird, and I think the T-Bird's actually a little longer. But there you go. Wayne Buzzell, is Marge more graceful to dance with now? She's a big darling. Yeah, she is. She is. And it's just easier to drive. Just easier. And it's really not a car that you're going to like make dance, shall we say. The Mustang, has my Mustang has very sharp handling. It rides hard and it turns hard, and so Marge is never going to be like that, and really don't want her to be. She's not a race car, but it's just easy to drive, which is really that's the bottom line for her is to be easy, pleasant. I want to be able to drive for an hour and hop out and still feel just as fresh as when I jumped in. I don't want to be my ears ringing and shit like that. So. Gig'em Garage, Kiwi, have you found a source to buy the 65 fastback rear interior vent grills? The chrome ones, 3 per vent. I think you can buy those, yeah. I seem to remember getting those for one of the... for that one that we sent back to Australia. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can buy them, but I can't tell you where off the top of my head. It's look on NPD and CJ Pony Parts, but I do think you can buy them now. Yeah. John M, more KSV driving vid. We saw it in your garage, but not on the road. That's very true. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I can make that happen. Max level, Kiwi, your thoughts on single malt versus bourbon? Well, that's interesting. I had over the weekend we spent last weekend with some friends, and one of the guys was a hardcore McCullum's drinker, which is McCullum's single malt, and so he got me onto that, and that was really nice. It was very smooth, very nice. So a little bit of that might be heading towards our liquor cabinet upstairs. I suspect that was really nice. I hadn't had it before, and it was like, yeah, okay, I'll try it, and it was like, oh, okay, wow, this is really quite nice. Direct Deba Jack, Marge's lovely, but I wouldn't trade her for my '96 Buick Roadmaster station wagon, last of the full frame American V8 wagons. Those things are becoming kind of reasonably hot property now. They're going up in price. Just a massive station wagon, pretty cool car. And if you want one of those now, you're kind of going to have to pay for one. So yeah, if you've got one, hang on to it, man. I wouldn't trade her either. Gig'em Garage, able to buy the quarter vents, but not the chrome inserts. Okay. The inserts for the interior. That may well be the case. I've got a set of those, the vent part that screws to the inside of the rear quarter, which has got some bright work on it. And I would have to have a look and see. I'm not 100% sure which. Are you talking about the little chrome surround that goes around it? And I think it actually rivets into the interior trim. Is that the piece you mean, or is it the little door part that slides? Chris Freemasson, how's the KCC merge coming along? I knew someone was going to ask that tonight. It's exactly the same distance along as it was this time last week, because I just have not had time to chase them down. Yeah, I know you guys must be getting really tired of hearing the tired old excuses about that, and I don't know what to tell you. I get in the door at 8:00 and then just start working, and before I know it, it's 5:30 and it's time to come home. And then I start remembering. I'm driving home and I remember all the calls I was supposed to make and the things I was supposed to be doing. Yeah. Fish Geraldine, I like a shot of 30-year-old shivers occasionally. Yeah. Man, I haven't had shivers for a long time, like decades. So, but that's it's meant to be pretty nice stuff. Derek Deberjack, Virginia's come back from being the moonshine capital of the Prohibition to having quite a few distilleries producing fine spirits. Virginia has, okay, didn't know that. John M. Glenfiddich is really good single malt. Yeah, Glenfiddich's that's a world-renowned whiskey for sure. Urcost 60. Any plans for another cross-country car trip like Large Marge? That was quite the adventure, huh? It was. I think Steve liked California even in rainy season. Yeah, well, I think he liked it. I know I like California. Another. Steve actually said the other day that we should get Marge all finished and actually take it back to California, go back and see the guys that I bought the car off and helped us so much, to show them the finished thing, and then kind of like do the road trip back again, but in Marge all finished, which is, I kind of like the idea, but I'm not sure whether that's ever going to happen. But it would be fun to go and find another unusual car and have an adventure like that, because it was certainly a lot of fun. John M. KCC merch is folklore, spoken of around the campfire, but no one's ever seen it. Oh dear. Okay. Oh, you guys are really guilt tripping me now. Okay. All right. I'll try and get something done this week, guys, and have something to report maybe next Tuesday. How about that? But don't hold me to it. But I'll try. I promise. Giggum Garage, not the door part, the 3 girls that are riveted to the vent panel. I have some, but they are pitted. Yeah, maybe you can't get those anymore. Well, not anymore, but you can't get them as a repup. I'm pretty sure that one we sent back to Australia, I had them re-chromed. But let me have a look and just tomorrow at work. I've got those interior trims, and let me refresh my memory as to just what they are, and if I can find any answers for you, I will let you know next Tuesday. How about that? Fish Geraldine, just poured a glass of wine, lit a cigar. Cheers. Living life large. Good for you, man. Long Island Mopars, welcome along. Late to the party here because the bourbon came early. Sorry, Kiwi. I have that same 58 Fury Pro Street that is sitting on your table. Oh, really? Okay. Is it a 58 or a 57? I don't know, actually. Yeah, it might be. What does it say of this? Anything? We got anything? Any details? No, it just says Chrysler Corporation. Yeah, it's 57 or a 58. I'm not sure which, to be honest with you. But it's kind of cool. Dewick, Beaverjag, it would be well worth the investment to sublet out the merch project. Yeah. Right, the issue I'm having is just getting the artwork right and then ordering the quantity, and it's just the technical side of it, like and pulling the trigger. But I've just got to get my butt down to the screen printing place and like okay the artwork. There's a couple of little changes I wanted to make and pull the trigger on it, and then it's amazing. Like I start Monday with lots of plans, and then suddenly it's Friday. Like you just blink your eyes and it's Friday. It's like damn. So, but I can't keep saying that. I've got to do something about it. Even Mrs. Kiwi kind of nudges me along about that. How's the merch coming? I'm like, Chris Freemasser, next road trip, Kiwi and Steve pick up an AMC Pacer from Mexican speak and drive it back to Tennessee. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You might be onto something there, Chris. Raider X, have you ever owned a Holden Monaro? No, I have not owned a Holden Monaro. Had a Holden Tirana. What other Holdens have I had? I think that might be about it, actually. Just a Holden Tirana, but not a Monaro, no. Steve Sadusky, Kiwi, do you know where to have chrome work done? Oh, it's been a little while since I've had some chrome done. I'm trying to remember the name of the place. There's a place about an hour and a half south of Nashville. And I'm trying to remember the name. Darn it. It escapes me. But they're pretty good, pretty reasonably priced. Nothing outrageous, but not cheap. Cheap chrome's, in my experience, is not good chrome. I'll think about that one. I'll come back to you on that one, Steve. But it's about an hour and a half. Is it Tom's Chrome and Polishing, something like that? It's quite a simple name, but yeah, that's my brain. It's gone. Richard Stanbury, Kiwi, what do you think about me replacing the ruined starter off my 273 Mopar and using a Dakota starter? Great show. By the way, I loved your road trip video in March. Well, thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know me and Steve enjoyed it immensely. Actually, I was looking at Mopar starters over the weekend. I'm thinking about changing the one out in March. And I saw those Dakota start. They're an unusual looking starter motor, very kind of smooth and polished, and I mean, I would. It'd be interesting to see what they sound like, whether they have that Mopar sound, those Dakota ones. I know they're not cheap. You can get just a regular replacement one for a lot less. But I do like the starter motors that have the solenoid built onto them, and then you can get rid of that ugly solenoid and all the wiring in the engine bay that the Mopars and the Mustangs have. I think it's a good idea. Gig'em Garage, CJ and others sell 67s and later. Okay. Yeah, you may be looking at getting them re-chromed. Yeah, I know that's what. This is where my memory's tricking me up. I remember getting those ones on the fastback I'm talking about, there was that burgundy coloured one that was for a guy out of Aussie, and I got those pieces that you rivet in. I got those re-chromed because you couldn't get them, and then I remember by the time we got the car finished, I remember seeing them. They'd suddenly become available. That's my memory of it. But you're saying you can't find them, so I was thinking you could get them, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. But that's kind of my memory of it. That I remember being frustrated, thinking, "Gosh, I paid all that money to get them re-chromed, and now you can buy repop." But yeah. Okay, Fishing Gerald. I was supposed to go look at a 2-door 63 Falcon wagon Thursday. Just postponed until after the storm. I need another project, LOL. Yeah, that'd be a cool project. 2-door Falcon wagon. Yeah, absolutely it would. Raider X, nickel finish is nice too. Yep, it is. You're right. It is nice. Yeah. If you do get a Falcon wagon, I can help Fishing Gerald. I can help you out with Mustang suspension and stuff for it if you need it. Chris Freemason, the nickel finish tarnishes with age. Worse than chrome? I mean, chrome will tarnish. Josh Homan. Hopefully the car does not blow away. Well, hopefully not, no. I believe the weather is pretty wild down that way. All right. What's happening, guys? Chris Freemason. Yeah, you have to clean the nickel with ammonia to shine it back up. Okay. Didn't know that. So the nickel just corrodes, I guess, does it? Or just oxidizes away the ammonia. So what does the ammonia do to it? That's interesting. All right. Well, what else can we fill this silent air with? Holly Buckley, to fit the 399, I'm guessing that's 390, and a 72 XA, is there a suspension kit available? Well, I would have thought it would fit. You wouldn't really need a suspension kit. I mean, like a Mustang 2 front suspension would certainly solve any kind of clearance issues you had. But it's whether fitting that into an XA and getting it passed in New Zealand is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I would think. But I think the 390 will fit into a 72 Falcon. But yeah, just a little tight. You're probably going to be a bit stumped for headers. You might have to go with cast iron manifolds. But I think it'll go in with stock shock towers and then just a mildly upgraded suspension components, just sticking with the stock kind of concept, but just upgraded components. Kathleen Mitchell, I'm guessing. Okay, Kathleen, welcome along. Just got the frame sandblasted on the next project. What product would you use next? An epoxy primer. Epoxy is what is really. Some people will use an etch, but that etch primer is a little outdated now. the thing with etch is you've got to put the etch primer on, and then you've got to put another sealing primer over the top of it. The etch will stop some rusting and it will stick to bare metal, but it's very porous, so any moisture in the air will work its way through the etch primer and it'll start to rust. Or epoxy, like a good quality epoxy, will seal it, and moisture will not affect it in any way. Like just, I don't mean raining on it, but actually epoxy will protect it from rain as well. But even like most primers are porous, and even the humidity in the air will go through the primer and down to the bare metal below. Whereas epoxy, you spray it on, it's super sticky, it sticks to about anything, then you kind of don't have to worry about it rusting again. You do have about a 7-day window if you're going to use epoxy to paint over it, and depending on the brand, you need to read the tech sheet. But 7 days is usually about the max, and then after that, you can still paint over it, but you have to sand it. You'll have to scuff it to get some adhesion to it, because it just gets so hard that the next layers of paint won't stick to it. So, but epoxy definitely. Chris Freemeser, it oxidizes. Okay, so I was right about that. I have nickel-plated light fixtures in my house and have to clean them now and again. Okay, huh. Raider X, I believe nickel is the finish before chrome. Actually, I think you might be right there, Raider. Yeah. When will you fess up that you put a Mustang starter relay on Marge? Oh, mate, that's not. I didn't think I'd made a secret out of that. Yes, I did use a Mustang starter on Marge, starter relay, because the local parts houses didn't have a Mopar one, so with a slight rewire, the Ford starter relay just works just fine. Yeah. So I just had to hook up a relay to work with that starter for the park neutral safety switch, because the park neutral safety switch on the Mopar one goes to that starter relay. So it's a little slightly different setup. So I just had to add a relay to it, and yeah, we were good to go. So, but yeah, changing it to a starter motor with a built-in solenoid will just get rid of all that stuff. That's why I was looking at a starter motor for it, just to try and clean up the engine bay a bit. And then I kind of stood back and looked at the rest of the car and thought, there's probably more important things than cleaning up the wiring in the engine bay that need to be done on March. So I probably shelved that project, but you never know. Don's manufacturing. Interesting. Would ammonia work on nickel audio plugs? Yeah, that's a good question. Fish Geralding, I had a 63 Futura convertible. Yeah, I've got one of those. That exact car, the V8 one. So 63 and a half, I think they called it. Second car I owned had the 144.6 2-speed auto. That was a fun little car. Yeah, they're a great little car. Yeah, the one I've got's got the 260 V8 and 2-speed auto in it. Yeah, I mean, well, the 260 is not what you'd call startling performance by any stretch of the imagination. So I can only imagine the 144.6 was, shall we say, slow, but still fun. Richard Stanbury, can I ask a second question? Of course, ask as many questions as you want. What would be a reasonable price to have a machine shop put hardened valve seats in my 273 Mopar? Mate, I do not know. I'm sorry. You can ask the question, but I don't always have the answer. It's not something I've done for quite a while, and when it has been, it's been part of a complete rebuild, so I don't know just what that is to do, unfortunately. Yeah, I do not know, but it's not as big a job as you might think it would. It would be. It's relatively quick to do. It's it's not a super expensive process, but I mean, there's 16 valves to do, so it's not going to be $100, but it's not going to be thousands either. Yeah, I don't know. Raider X, have you used AMSOIL on the older engines? I know they have the Z-Rod with added zinc for the flat tappet cams. I haven't used AMSOIL. No, I don't have a good source for it here, or at least they haven't made themselves known to me. But I do like the product. AMSOIL is good stuff, and I usually put zinc additives in any oil changes that I do. If I know they're flat tappet cams, the flat tappet cams need some zinc. So yeah, I haven't used the AMSOIL. Fish Geraldine, wipe some quick prep etch on before the epoxy. DuPont 244S, no need to rinse. Quick prep etch. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. Chris Freemas, Raider X Shell Rotella T4 has higher zinc and it's a whole lot cheaper. Okay. I would expect Rotella to be cheaper than AMSOIL, yeah. The Rotella T4 is not a synthetic, is it? I don't believe. It's a mineral oil, isn't it? Which is always going to be cheaper than an AMSOIL. But part of the trouble with AMSOIL is one of the reasons it's fairly high price is it's volume. They don't. It's not a mass market product. Like it doesn't have that market share that the Shells and the Mobiles and Royal Purple even have. It cost 60. I still got to send you an invoice for that starter relay. Yeah, you do, man. Yeah, man. It's you will be heading around to a 1-year birthday on that before too much longer. And that relay wasn't the only thing you sprung for either. There was some other stuff as well. So yeah, I need to Venmo you some money. I really do. Because waiting for the merch could be a long process. Craig Nearing, hey, a live stream. Hello. Yeah, this is, I think, the third one we've done now, third or fourth live stream now. It's kind of becoming a regular Tuesday night thing. So, Raider X, when my 408 stroker was redone, we went with a roller cam. Use AMSOIL in my Harley and 16 Challenger. Want to use it in the 408. Haven't used the fully synthetic in an older style engine. Full synthetic in an older style engine is fine. They say it's not great. If it's been running, if it's got a bunch of miles under its belt, with mineral oil, then they say, and I don't really know the science behind it or if it's really true, but they say not to switch. And honestly, I think that's a little bit of an old wives' tale. They also say some synthetics can create, a little bit more prone to oil leaks because the molecules are actually slightly smaller on the synthetic oil. Again, not convinced on that. I put synthetic in a lot of my, Windsor engines, and it's not been a problem. Maybe if you're talking 50s engines with rope seals and stuff like that, then maybe so. But if you've got a 302, one-piece rear main, type of engine, 408 is going to be a 351, so that would be a one-piece rear main. I think you'd be absolutely fine with synthetic. And if you've only run mineral up to now, and as long as you've got a roller cam, then have at it. Urkos, Rotella and other diesel oils also also reduce their zinc content. Okay. Now, Raider X Amsoil dealer just down the street from us. Yeah, well, that helps, doesn't it? That helps. I mean, if I probably went digging, I could find, there must be an Amsoil dealer around Nashville somewhere, surely. I just really haven't gone looking for them. Craig Nearing, great. I watched that Oil Geek channel today. Good episode. Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be people on YouTube that know more about that stuff than I do. And yeah, I mean, the oils now are really are quite a science. There's zero weight oils they're using now. It just blows my mind. Urcos 60, I use Castrol GDX Classic Oil for high zinc in my 67. 67 Corvair, isn't it? Not that makes much difference, but yeah. Silver Eagle Cobra. It's been a while since I saw UTG at your shop. It's been a while since UTG's been there, but for Geraldine, I'm going to try the Valvoline Restore and Protect next oil change on his Lexus. Okay. So what's the thinking behind using that on a Lexus? Have you got high miles on the Lexus, or? Urcos, Lakespeed Jr. does a lot of oil videos. He's a bit too enthusiastic for me. Yeah, haven't seen him. Fitzgeraldine just had 174,000 miles. Yeah, that's getting up there. But if it's been looked after, that's not too bad. I mean, I've got a 2010 Lincoln with about the same mileage on it, and that just keeps on trucking. The suspension's rattling a bit, and there's other parts of the car showing its age, but the engine just keeps on going. Craig Nearing, I have a 2015 RX 350. Bought it used with 40k on it. I'm not fussy as long as it is a 020 20 weight. Yes, anything with MDS, multi-displacement system, anything like that drops, cylinders, that type of thing. They are very, very fussy about the oil used in them. When they get really complicated and high tech in the valve train, they have little tiny holes in the lifters to let oil pressure through and to make them switch and turn the lifters on and off, turn the valves on and off, and they are very particular about the oil you use. So do not stray from the factory recommendations, and don't go any longer than the factory say on the oil change intervals. If you've got anything, variable valve timing is not so fussy, but as soon as you hit into that MDS, as I call it, or multi displacement systems, where they're dropping, you're turning your V8 into a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder, that type of thing. They are very, very particular on oil. Nathan Nevard, hello from Whangarei. How are you doing, man? Yeah, Whangarei is a nice little city. Used to go there at least once a year for the Whangarei Rally, and more often than that. But that was the guaranteed minimum of once a year up there. Nice roads, nice gravel dirt roads up around Whangarei. Always a good rally. Steve Sadusky, Oil Geek channel has good content about different oil. That's good to know. I wasn't aware of that. So yeah, that'll be worth a look, because there's that's, I don't have any kind of real depth of knowledge, particularly on oils, and that it's an expanding kind of knowledge base too, with the modern engines and the different things that they're doing with it. Yeah, Fitzgeralding running 0-20 as well. I mean, that and it 0-20 is just so thin. It's just crazy. It's and they're pulling big RPMs out of those engines with like such watery oil. It's a little hard to get my old brain around, but hey. Raider X, have you seen Eric Barner's film on his Ford Falcon? If not, it's worth seeing. Yes, I have seen it. That is good. It was a crying shame when he stuck it into the trees on that Targa rally, Targa Tasmania. I think that's the one. I think that happened on that movie that's the one you're referring to. Yeah, he tore that car up pretty good, but yeah, like off the road and into the trees. Well, that'll tear up most cars. But yeah, it was crying shame to see that done to a lovely XA like he had. I think it was an XA. It was a 2-door hardtop, if I remember rightly. Chris Freemasser, some new Toyota engine uses a 0W8 oil. I have no idea how that's possibly good for longevity. Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't know either. But engine design really has changed so much. Yeah, it's beyond me. I'll be honest with you. It's but I do also have a lot of faith in the engineers that come up with that stuff. They're smart people. They're doing that for a reason, and they're doing stuff to allow that to be a good idea. That's my belief. Whenever I hear someone going, "Oh, those people, those engineers are idiots," it's like, no, there's no engineers working at a high level, in these vehicle manufacturers, engine manufacturers that are idiots. Not to say they can't make a mistake, but they're definitely not idiots. Craig Nearing, Oil Geek works for Total Seal Piston Ring Company. Okay, well that's a very well known and well respected piston ring company. Urkos, what was that special coolant you used in a recent hot running car? That was Frosty. What was it called? Frosty something. Yeah, kind of a little bit of a corny name, but yeah, Frosties, something like that. Yeah, definitely Frosty in it. Just off Summit Racing, and it worked. It worked too. It's good, and it'd be great in California because it doesn't work as an antifreeze. So if you're somewhere that potentially the water in your engine's going to freeze, that's not the stuff for you. But I mean, I'd use it here in Tennessee as long as you garage your car. If your hot rod's left outside in the snow and the freezing nights that we get here, then that's going to be a problem. Your water in your block's going to freeze. But it's been my experience, not many hot rods get left out in the snow around here anyway. I mean, there's probably some old clunkers that do, but yeah, they're not usually using that product in the radiator anyway. So yeah, it was Frosty something, but it's not hard to find. Just go on Summit and put in engine coolant Frosty, and you'll find it. There is two versions of it though, just so you know. The one I used dropped at 30 degrees, but does not act as an antifreeze. And they have another one which drops at like 15 degrees, which is an antifreeze. So you can, there is two products. So look for the one that is the 30-degree drop. And they do say up to 30 degrees, and this probably dropped at about a little bit over 20 degrees. So the 30 is, the ideal world, which we, as mere mortals, never quite seem to get to that ideal level. But I thought 22 degrees, I think we got, or 22, 23 was it was worth pouring a $30 bottle of product into the radiator to get 20 degrees. I thought that was a pretty good deal. Fitzgeraldine watched a long video on Oil Geek about restore and protect. Really good channel. Oil Geek is Lakespeed Junior. Okay. Nathan Nevard, hey, you probably already addressed it. Haven't seen Uncle Tony much around your shop lately. Did he move too far away? No, he hasn't moved too far away. We had a little bit of a falling out, which was a shame. And yeah, we've kind of we haven't talked for, I don't know, too long. 4 or 5 months probably. He kind of let me down, I felt, and yeah, we had some words, and that was kind of the end of that. But it's water under the bridge now. I do wish him all the best. I do miss him. He was a lot of fun, and it's kind of just a shame, really. It didn't need to go down that way, but it did, and life goes on. Chris Freemason, definitely not idiots, but the pressure to increase engine efficiency seems to be forcing them to make some dubious design choices. Well, that's probably a fair comment too, Chris. Like some of these oil-driven, rubber belt-driven oil pumps that are, with the oil, with the belt in the oil, constantly running in oil. I do question that. But they've got a lot of those engines out there. But yeah, they are under a lot of pressure, and it's not necessarily from the companies that they're working for. The EPA is driving a huge amount of it, pushing them for that every tenth of a mile to the gallon extra, because they're trying to get that. It's really not the consumer that is pushing this whole mileage thing. It's the EPA or the equivalent government bodies in the respective countries that are pushing this engine efficiency. Which kind of frustrates me because like they welcome the electric cars with open arms, and they seem these same people that are ragging on the ICE engines, for the carbon footprint. They just seem to turn a blind eye to what it takes to mine the minerals for electric cars. Hopefully that's going to calm down in the next few years. Time will tell, I guess. But I certainly see some of their older cars becoming worth more as the electric cars are forced upon us more and more, and the wild things they're having to do to engines to make them more efficient, fractionally more efficient, is making them extraordinarily expensive to repair. So I can see some of the older, simpler cars that are still in decent condition just going up and up in price. Like, people are just going to want something simple, like the KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid. I see those cars really coming back into their own. Time will tell. Craig Nearing, I just changed out my coolant. My RX350 fans never came on, running it up to purge the air. Temp was normal. That's a little concerning. They should come on. Your thermostat should bring the engine up to a temperature where the fans kick in. Unless there's an air pocket around the sensor that's so it's not transferring not giving the information or that a real world temp to the sensor. That's you need those. You're going to need those fans to come on. You need to make sure they're working. But RX350, just not familiar enough with those personally to kind of give you too much advice on how to check that. Nick Hendricks, Northland roads were awesome rally roads. Was talking with a younger guy who was into rallying. I got out of it a long time ago. You and me both. Cost him about $600 in gas. Costs are prohibitive. Yeah, yeah. Rallying's not for the faint-hearted anymore. Price wise, just entry fees have gone up dramatically. We didn't realize how good we had it when I was rallying, and like just how cheap it was. Given the amount of work that goes into creating an event, what we were paying to enter them was just buttons, really, like pennies on the dollar, as they say. Josh Homan, they are trying to power large vehicles with small motors. That's where the trouble is. Government wants efficient, America wants big. Yeah, there's a gap there, isn't there? There's a disconnect between what the American public wants to own and what the government is telling us we have to own. And it's like, when are the government, going to stop telling their voters what they can and can't drive? I mean, it's good that they're cleaning up, that cars have got more efficient and we're getting more miles to the gallon than we used to, and they're burning the fuel better than they ever were. But at what point, does it become that, reach the point of diminishing returns? Whereas they're making the engines, as you say, smaller, more output. But when is it going to start costing too much to fix them or to maintain them? There needs to be a balance. Raider X, what spark plugs do you like to run in your small block Fords? I usually run NGKs, and you're going to ask me which number. I've got it written down at work. I can't remember the number, but I use like an NGK equivalent, to what the recommended plug is. I've always had a good run with NGKs, like for decades. Yeah. Well, Urcost UTG is nothing without Kiwi. I don't watch anymore. Well, I mean, I appreciate that, Urcost. I do. Yeah. Tony's got a great following. Tony's not a bad guy, but that whole deal just frustrates me. It didn't need to happen. I wish it hadn't happened. And yeah. Yeah, E612. That's okay. Let's not have a Tony bashing session. Nick Hendricks, not like when we were into it. No, mate, it's not. It was. I mean, there's not really any cheap motorsport, but it was affordable for those that wanted to do it. Yeah. Chopper 650, life does go on, Kiwi. You seem to have no shortage of content being uploaded. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how things are going. Yeah, it's I'm enjoying having a little bit more to do with Kevin Tate's on his YouTube channel now that he's gotten into it. I think a few people think that's a new thing, the Kevin Tate's and me, or Paintucation. But we've been mates for 12, 13 years now. So, yeah, that's not new. But what's new is that he's now jumped on the YouTube train and is doing really well at it too. Doing really well at it. And I'm happy for him with that. He's been around the media, the automotive media for 2-3 decades, and he's got a good strong following, so it was only a matter of time till he jumped on the YouTube wagon, and then all those people that have watched him over the decades have just followed him to YouTube, and I think he's up at around 80,000 subscribers now. He's doing well, putting out good product. He's a extremely good teacher, extremely good presenter, and it's good to see, and I hope to do a bit more work with him in the future. Any SOX 12, any suggestions for a good shrinker stretcher machine? The one I've got is made by, who's it made by? Trying to think who made it. Just can't remember the brand of my one. I know Eastwood have a good one. There's nothing wrong with the Eastwood one, and that's a pretty sensible price. I would, if you're going to get one, I would look at the things to look for is how deep a throat they have. If you can afford to go to the deep throat one, which I haven't got, but I would like to get. When I bought my one, it was Woodward Fab is the one I've got. Sorry, that is good, and it's wearing a little bit now. It's kind of showing its age, but I mean that's probably 12 years old now. That shrinker stretcher. And the other thing I would suggest getting one is like the double one. I get frustrated with my one. Always having to change the jaws from the shrinker jaws to the stretcher, and it seems whenever you walk up to it, if you're wanting to shrink, it's got the stretcher jaws in it. If you're wanting to stretch, it's got the shrinker jaws in it. You'd think you'd be right half the time, but it's like you're wrong 80% of the time. But I think that's just Murphy's law. But I would, I've seen them where they're double, they're kind of back to back, and so you can just switch around. Again, it depends a little bit how much you're going to use it. If you're going to use it a lot, then I think mine's probably due for replacement soon, or at least the jaws part of it, and I may just get another complete stand, and so that I've got one that's set up full time with the shrinker jaws in it, and one that's set up full time with the stretcher in it. It's because often you'll be trying to shrink something and you'll go just a little bit too far, and then you've got to stretch it again. So then you've got to stop, change the jaws, put it back in, and then hopefully you don't stretch it to go too far the other way. Because it can be just a few pounds pressure with your foot on the pedal, and you can go too far or not enough. I would, if you're going stretch to it, then I would get the double setup, and also the deep throat one. But Woodward Fab is pretty good. I've been using that a lot for 12 years, and that's based. This is not home garage stuff. This is like 12 years, 40 hours a week. Chris Freeman says NGK and Denso are good plugs. Yeah, I've had a good run on NGK. Back from our rallying days, we used to use NGK plugs. So that's 40 years ago. And yeah, they're more expensive. Yep, but they last. And yeah, I'd rather pay a little bit more and get something that lasts. Nathan Nevard, so many cool cars go through your shop. You have to be turning work away, mate. I'm turning 4 or 5 cars a day away. The amount of calls that I get, people wanting stuff done, is just the last 4 years. It's just exploded, absolutely exploded. And YouTube is part of that. A lot of people come to me that have seen me on YouTube, either locally or even out of state. Which is not why I'm doing YouTube. I'm not trying to drum up more work. Quite the opposite, in fact. But yeah, that's the side effect of YouTube. So yeah, but no, I do. I when you're having that, it's like it's any job. What I do is fun a lot of the time, and a lot of the time it's still a job. And you have days that aren't quite so good, and on those days that aren't quite so good, you kind of got to look around the shop and go, look, there's a 54 Corvette over there, and there's something over this way, and it's like, look at all these cars. And some days I've got to remind myself a little bit, yeah, okay, I've got Marge outside to work on, and she's getting done through YouTube. So yeah, I'm pretty blessed, really, with what I do for a living and my job, shall we say. There's a lot worse jobs out there than my job. So yeah, but no, it's a little frustrating how much work I have to turn away these days. It really is. Because I don't like saying no to people. Like, a lot of people ring up and they're just stuck. They can't find anyone to work on their car. And what's really interesting for me now, the real piece of the market that's not getting looked after is those 90s cars, even 80s. Like, I don't really work on 80s cars, 80s and 90s. Anything older than 20 years now, most of the mainline shops, be it mechanical shops or body shops, won't work on anything that's over 20 years old. Which is 2004 going on 2005 now. So those cars older than that, but not into the 70s, there's a real hole in the market for those to be maintained, like just a void. Because some of that 90s stuff I genuinely can't work on. I don't have the equipment, don't plan on buying the equipment to work on it, and really I don't have the knowledge required. And again, don't really want to have that. My niche is 50s, 60s, 70s, and a little bit older even. But yeah, as soon as you start having to plug a computer into, even OBD1, it's like I'm out. That's not my area of expertise. So yeah, if someone wants to start up a shop looking over after those 80s and 90s cars, certainly around Nashville, they're going to be very, very busy. Right. What have we got here? Steve Sadusky, I've been following Paintucation since he was with Classic Car Restoration. Bought all his videos. He is a great teacher. He really is. I'm okay, but Kevin is exceptional. When he was on Trucks TV with Power Nation. I was, before I even had a shop. I was a big fan of his then, and always found that he was, of all the different guys doing that kind of stuff, the more how-to shows, which was Power Nation, was a little bit more how-to and a little bit less fluff than some. He always, I wasn't really into trucks, but I always watched that truck show because of him and the way he came across to me, and I could understand what he was saying. He made sense. His ideas were good. You could watch a show and you always knew that there was going to be something, at least one thing that you hadn't seen before, hadn't heard of, and you'd think, wow, that's a really good idea. And it's funny what sticks in your mind. I remember one, he was dealing with that POR 15, and because he's a paint guy, and POR 15, one of the things, if you put the lid back on it and there's any paint, the lid will stick shut, and as soon as you crack it open, it's got a very limited shelf life, because you open the can, you use a little bit of it, air and oxygen goes into the can, you put the lid back on, and it wants to cure the rest of the product. Well, he's like, okay, we'll just get a little butane soldering iron, not lit, and just before you put the lid on, just fire some like 10 or 15 seconds worth of butane, out of your little butane soldering iron into the top of the can, put the lid back on, clean, and that butane, because it's heavier than air, would displace the oxygen out of the void in the can, the couple of inches that the POR 15's gone down. The butane would displace the oxygen. You put the lid back on, and the shelf life just went through the roof. So it's like, that's such a good idea. So he was always full of neat little stuff like that. Now, Richard Stanbury, Kiwi, novice question here. How can I tell if a top oiler Ford engine from a side oiler engine, talking Y block here? Well, the side oiler and top oiler is a FE thing, not a Y block. Well, the FE is kind of a Y block. The side oiler is fairly, that I'm familiar with, is fairly easy to see. There is literally when you look at the side of the V down below the heads, you will see like a raised part of the block, which is where the oil, they've added material to the block, so the block kind of comes down and it does a little kick out and down. Not, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch by 1/2 an inch, like lump in the side of the block, and that is where they ran the oil gallery to side oil. So when you'll see that the block is fairly smooth on a regular one, and on the side oiler it has this raised cast piece in it, and that little half round kind of hump in the side of the block is where they literally run the long drill through for the oil gallery, and becomes a side oiler. So that's it. Steve Sadusky, Eastwood has good products. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mentioned as well. Them and Woodward Fab. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the same company that's making them for Woodward Fab, they look extremely similar, but they're painted different colours. I would say those Eastwood and Woodward Fab are probably coming out of the same factory in China. I wouldn't be at all surprised. I don't think there's much in it. Yeah. Barry Cooter's in the house. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to have you along. Josh Homan, that is a good problem to have. Yeah, I hear that a lot. And my response to that is yes, but it's still a problem. Because it does, like I say, I don't like saying no to people. People ring up and you can tell the sound of their voice there. They're kind of getting desperate often. They're trying to find someone who'll work on it. Or at least, spend 5 minutes with them and try and help them and direct them in somewhere that might be able to help them. Seems like at most places you ring up and they'll go, nah, don't work on those, goodbye, and it's just boom, they're gone. As soon as they hear what it is or the age, it becomes a 20-second conversation. But I've been criticised in the past for spending too long on the phone with people that aren't bringing me any money in the door. But honestly, I like to try and help people. If I can send someone in a direct, I don't want to just say I'm too busy, go away. If I am too busy, I'm too busy. But I still like to try and give them some help somehow, even if it's just pointing them to somewhere else that can maybe, hopefully, help them out. Chris Freeman, a good mechanic always have more work than they can handle these days. Yeah, and I don't think that's just mechanics either. That's body shops. That's almost any industry these days. If you're any good, you've got more work than you can do. The blue collar workers, there's just less and less of us. We're getting into a whole, like a big deep discussion potentially. Like there's not enough blue collar workers. There's not enough priority put on educating people to go into trades, be that plumbers, be it electricians, be it HVAC people, like all of them. There's a shortage of people in all those industries because there's a massive push within the school system to go to college and get a degree. It's like, actually, go and get a trade. Like should not be a dirty word. To be a tradesman is not a dirty word. It's not. You're not. If you're a tradesman, you're not a lesser being than someone with a degree in photography. We need to put way more emphasis back on the trades because we've been trying to get some little bit of stuff done around our house here, and trying to get someone to just even come here and have a look so we can tell them what we want done and get them to do it. We just can't even get anybody here because they're all just way too busy. The tradesmen, we've just been looked down upon for way too long, and now we're all figuratively paying the price because myself included. Like, I'm a tradesman, but I can't get people to do the trades that I can't do. Like, I'm not a plumber, I'm not an HVAC guy, so you've got to ring around and try and find those guys, and you wait at the house for them to come along, and they go, "Oh yeah, sorry, I got too busy, I'll come tomorrow." And it's like, shit. It's a problem. There's lots of people with degrees in computers and can do all sorts of high tech stuff, but we also need to be able to flush the toilet. Orlando Pockets, yes, I am having a great week actually. I had a great weekend. Had some fun with some friends and got away from it. Went down to oh my goodness me, where did we go, Mrs. Kiwi? Charleston. Went down to Charleston, stayed at a place on the beach in Charleston, and had a great weekend. It was awesome. Good friends, good times, good drinking, good eating. It was good. Is that little silver car? This one here you're talking about? Yeah, that is a pace car. It's not a movie car, but hang on. I haven't got enough hands. Got my bourbon in my other hand. That is a Mercury, 57 Mercury Turnpike Cruiser. I think it's a Turnpike Cruiser. Convertible official pace car for the Indianapolis 500. So, yeah. I have a little bit of a, if you can kind of see up there, that's a cabinet full of die-cast cars. If we swing over there's another cabinet with die-cast cars. Yeah, cars are a bit of a theme with me. You may not have noticed, but yeah, cars are a bit of a thing for me. Fish Geraldine, just finished my third glass of wine. Bedtime for this old man. Oh, you're getting soft, man. We still got half an hour to go. Got to get the homestead ready tomorrow for the storm, Mole. Fair enough. And don't forget to go and look at that falcon. All right. Thanks for stopping in, man. Nathan Navard, what's happening to your bare metal Barracuda? That is down the back 40, waiting for time. Mopar L's got the engine mostly put together for that car. Just waiting on me. That's on the list of things to do after March, after merchandise that you guys keep asking for that I never get to. Wife's little car, the Sunbeam Alpine. Lots to do. Not enough time. Chris Freemasser, there's a product called Bloxgen, which is used to separate oxygen from liquids, like woodworking finishes, that would otherwise cure in the can. Okay. Bloxygen. Well, that makes sense. Blocks oxygen. Okay. Well, of course, that little tip from Kevin is like, that's literally a 10-year-old tip. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that as more products like that have come online, not online, but into the mainstream. That would be a good product to have around. But yeah, I guess the butane doesn't cure it; it's the oxygen that makes that stuff cure. And if you can get rid of the oxygen with using butane, then that's just another way of doing it, I guess. I wonder, I'll have to look that up and see how that works, whether you just kind of spray it, release it into the top of the can. It's probably a similar principle. Craig Nearing, my first car was a 64-door Ford with a 292 and 3-speed. There you go. What sort of Ford? They made one or two different 4-door Fords back in 1960. 292, great engine, 3-speed manual transmission. That's all you needed with a 292. It had enough torque. You didn't need a close ratio gearbox, 5 and 6 speeds, just 3-speed. That's all you needed. End of time. I just went to a shop after many years and they said they don't touch anything under 2004. I guess I'll do it myself. Yeah, that's just what I was saying a few minutes ago. That 20-year window is been adopted by a lot of car people, and that's for paint, body, mechanics, any of it, upholstery even. They won't touch it. So, the option is do it yourself or get a newer car. But those late 90s or 90s, early 2000s cars they're relatively simple. So there's going to be a good market for them. People are going to want them, but they are going to want someone to work on them. Josh Homan, we put the stigma on blue-collar jobs and now wonder why we have shortages of people to do those jobs. I mean, you're exactly right. And the schools have a lot to answer for that. The schools have a huge amount to answer for. But I've talked to a few teachers, and one thing they've told me is that there's a lot of budgetary pressure put on the schools to have their pupils accepted into college. That's how the government quantifies the school success rate, is how many of their graduating, like how many kids graduating high school get accepted into college. That's how they judge them, whether you're good, bad, average. So that's why the high schools push extremely hard to get their pupils into college. Once they're into college, really, like the high schools aren't worried about, what those kids will be doing in 5 years after. They just want to get them into. There's a huge amount of pressure to get them accepted into college, and then they can say that 86% of our graduating students, get accepted into college or whatever. I mean, I'm just pulling that number out of the air. That may be way too high or too low. I don't know. But there's a lot of pressure on those schools to have, good acceptance rates into college from their students, and then they get a good budget for the next school year. If they have a really low acceptance into college, then their budgets get cut. So, that's down to our government. That's kind of, it's very easy, and I'm quick to blame the schools, but there's this something driving the schools, and that something is the budget, like next year's budget. At least that's what I've been told by a couple of teachers. So, yeah. Now, Barracuda, do you know of any toolkits specifically for repairing stainless steel trim? Eastwood, maybe. It's difficult finding something that can be a dolly in a tiny, narrow, rounded space. That's a good question, Barracuda. Actually, I'm not aware of anything. Typically, like I do a little bit of stainless steel repair. I personally find it quite tedious and laborious, and I'm not a big fan of it. But I've got a handful of tools that I've just made. At least the stuff is small, so it's not like trying to make a dolly, this big. You just weld a couple of bits of metal together and grind and shape, and you make the shape of the dolly, because chances are it's only going to be half an inch wide and a couple of inches long. So make your own, and then the same with making the little tools to actually do the drifting with. Like, don't hit your stainless steel with the hammer. you need to get like either some really hard durable plastic, or some type of hardwood. A really strong hardwood can be quite good for making a little punches to just put on, like thickness of your finger, and you can just shape the end, with a sanding disc, and get it to the shape you want, and then you use that to, like tap away on your little dent. And because if you use steel, you put a steel dolly on it, then your stainless, and then hit it with something steel, you're going to stretch it. You're going to stretch it badly. So you have to hit it. Got to hit it with something fairly hard to transfer the energy from the hammer into the stainless to make it move. But it's got to be softer than the stainless steel so that it won't overly stretch it. But yeah, some hard plastics. Go to one of your plastics places, and get some. And you might have to experiment with it's going to get hard to a point where it'll break, shatter, and if it's too soft, well, it just won't transfer any energy from the hammer into the stainless. But yeah, pretty much you got to make your own, and just whatever you've got around, you just kind of got to get creative and find stuff to make your shapes with. And brass can be quite good for making little tiny dollies with, or steel. But yeah, you can't be hammering on the stainless with steel. Orlando Pockets, that's a sweet die cast. Glad you had fun on the beach. Yeah, mate, I did. Yeah, thanks. Nathan Navard, you just answered my next question about the sunbeam in the background. Yes, that's Mrs. Kiwi's car. Watch out for that. There'll be a video coming up soon. We're gonna kind of do an introduction to that car and kind of share with you the plans for that. Coming up soon. But I mean, be warned, soon in Kiwi land can sometimes be a bit longer than you might think. Craig Nearing, no name, just a rubber mat special. Not sure what you're talking about there, bud. No name. Oh, okay, Craig. But I did own a Starliner, Sunliner, and every model they built. Most were parts cars or simple flips. Fair enough. Starliners were cool, and Sunliners, yeah. SX12, any updates on the fastback Cougar? No updates on the Cougar. That has gone home to the owner. And honestly, it'll probably be next year sometime before that comes back. He's just got a little bit too much on his plate. He's got two other project cars that are expensive project cars, and he just needed a little break on the Cougar, and sure as heck I needed the room. So yeah, that's gone back to his place for a while, and hopefully we'll see it next year. Chris Freeman says stainless steel work hardens as well, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. You can make it brittle and it'll crack and split. John Kelly, hey Kiwi, good to see you. You're having a real go. What are you daily driving at the moment? Right now, daily is a 2010 Lincoln MKS, which is Mrs. Kiwi's old car. It's just a good old car. It's kind of too good to get rid of. The Falcon, that I bought a little while back, was kind of the plan for that is to be the daily driver. And I just got some rear springs for it. If you saw the video a while ago, 2 months ago probably, it broke a rear spring. And I just late last week managed to finally actually get around to ordering new springs for the back of it, which arrived today. So yeah, that Falcon should be back on the road in the next week or so. But yeah, and then I'll probably drive that. That's just a cool old car to drive. And like I'm a little hard on the Lincoln's a nice car, and I'm a little too dirty at the end of the day and a little too hard on it really. So something like that old Falcon is a little bit more my style. My weekend driver is the Audi, the RS7. That's my weekend daily driver. But yeah, I get way too dirty at work to be taking that to work and then putting all my junk and tools and stuff in that car. It's too nice for that. So yeah. So John Kelly, I get just the way you're wording that thing. Do I know you from a while back, John, or not? Essex 12. I've used bismuth metal for patterns and such. It melts in boiling water. Huh. Okay. George Cook. Hey, Uncle Tony, watch Kiwi pull a Mustang out of a pile of rust again. Yes, Tony, again. Well, yes, that's my specialty. That's my superpower, is turning something that looks like a pile of rust back into a Mustang. Raider X, thanks for the info and all the best with the channel. Thank you, sir. Yeah, we're actually running out of time. We've got about 15 minutes to go. Are you going to give Marge a rust converter bath? Yeah. Yeah, it'd be, I don't, yes. The short answer, yes. We'll be cutting all the rust out of it. It'd be, if I mean, in an ideal world, it'd be a body off the chassis, sandblast everything, redo it. But as you can imagine, a car that size, by the time you take it off the chassis, the body off the chassis, it's like it's taking up the space of 3 cars, which I really just can't do at the moment. So we're doing it a little bit piecemeal. Next challenge is to repair the floors in it, and then that'll be getting some rust converter on any of the surface rust that's on the floors. Even though it's a California car, it sat damp for a while. Like, I mean, it does rain in California, and it leaked water, and there was, where it had carpets in it, that it kind of rusted some of the floors out from the inside out or the inside down. So it's not rust free. It's pretty darn good, but it's not rust free. So yeah. And the outside, I don't know. I flip and flop on the outside because I get a lot of comments telling me to just leave her like she is. It's just like people love the old patina on her, and I kind of do as well. And then some days I think, man, it'd be nice to have a really slick, fresh, period correct color scheme on it. I'm not sure what colors, but I have thought about a two-tone green. Those evenings where I'm just sitting there, daydreaming about what I might be doing. And a cool two-tone green, that teal sort of mist green kind of color scheme on it, what I think would look pretty good. But yeah, it's all time permitting. I really do have to crack on with Mrs. Kiwi's Alpine and get that done. She kind of, I've had a lot of fun playing with my own stuff for quite a long time, and she, I really owe it to her and her, the level of support that I get from her to build something exceptional for her. So Marge is going to have to take a little bit of a backseat to that, but not a seat so far back she never gets seen again. But yeah, that little Alpine needs some love. Sly Rider, Kiwi, nice to see you alive. Well, good. Well, thank you. Glad you're enjoying it. Barracuda, was it rust that made the Falcon leaf spring break? It wasn't. I mean, certainly the springs had some surface rust on them. It wasn't rusted thin. So no, I don't really think it was a. Talking with the guys at, I shouldn't say guys, it was actually a lady that I dealt with at General Springs, and I was quizzing her about the rear leaves on the Falcon are a 3-pack, and it has one long leaf and then like a much shorter second leaf. So there's a lot of, the main leaf is not supported. It's like halfway. I think it's about 22 inches from the center of the axle to the front eye. And the second leaf is only about 10 or 11 inches, along there. So it's almost right in the middle of that span, that 22-inch span between the front eye and the actual axle. And that's right where the second leaf finishes is where it's broken. And I think it's just been working there. And talking to the lady at General Springs, she said the second leaf now goes all the way to just under the eye. So you've got 2 full layers of spring, taking the weight. It's not, you don't have like, I think it created like a pivot point where the second leaf ended and then the next one was on top. And that's right where it's broken, right on the very tip of the second leaf. I think that's what's caused it. And talking with her, she's like, yeah, that's kind of why they now do the 4-leaf, where the leaves are a little softer, but there's 2 of them, basically two full length leaves, and then it's the next 2 stagger down shorter. And she said the longevity on them is just a lot better, which is why they didn't go to the 4-leaf to make them more heavy duty or to make them carry more weight. They are actually softer springs, individually, but they add up to the same poundage. So, but yeah, the long second leaf was to support the top leaf. That's a very long-winded explanation, but hopefully that makes sense. Sly Rider, are you able to source brake drums made in the USA for vintage Fords of the 60s? I'm going to say no. I've not seen. They don't make much in the US anymore. It's all made offshore. At the risk of getting into politics, that's something that I don't agree with. America needs to make more stuff for themselves. But no, you can't. I'm not aware of anyone making drums in the US. That's not to say there's not, but I'm not aware of any. Craig Nearing, that Marge is cool, so cool. Well, thank you. I think it is too. So cool. John Kelly, Gito Springs took some time. We have spoken in the comments before, like what you do and can relate. Well, thank you, sir. The springs took some, and that's just down to me. Like the springs, that's purely down to me. Just busy. And just grabbing 10 minutes to do the order, and also remembering to do the order is I need to have it in my mind and have the time to make the call, and I managed to get that done late last week. So they're sitting here now. They could have been here weeks ago, but yeah, that's just down to me, and having other higher priorities. I mean, it helps that I've got a couple of cars to choose from that I can drive. I wasn't desperate to get it back on the road, but I just kept seeing it across the yard there, thinking I really must do something. And it's like, I think it was like Thursday I finished the job, and it's like, I'm going to ring them about the Falcon Springs right now before I forget. And I did, and like 3 days later they're here, business days, but yeah. Chris Freemasser, you and Kevin Tetz doing a series on painting large Marge would be epic. It really would, yeah. And that's not out of the question. It's really not. Kevin likes Marge as well, and we are looking to work together more on YouTube. I think our audiences are similar enough. We just we enjoy working together, and I think that comes through on the videos, which makes the videos work well. So yeah, that would be cool. Steve Sadusky, I've got to get up very early. Love your channel, Kiwi. Look forward to the next one. Don't forget Kev. Okay, I'll try to remember him. Yeah, we're down to 5 minutes. 5 minutes to go. John Oskowski, hey Kiwi. Oh, Dr. Art, you popped in at the last moment. Are you at the shop tomorrow? Yes, I am at the shop tomorrow. Man, I was supposed to get back to you about that Chrysler. That's how stupidly busy I am. Dr. Art messaged me last week about this car where I'm trying to get in the door for him so he can look at some of the Holly tuning on it. And I didn't call him back. And then the next day it was that vanished out of my brain. I saw his message and it's like, yeah, I need to answer that. And then next thing you know, it's the next day and that's gone. And I just saw your name now. And it's like, shit. So yes, I'm at the shop. That particular Chrysler is not at the shop, but I can get it in at fairly short notice. We could have it here on Thursday or something like that, or maybe even late tomorrow afternoon, if that's what you're asking about. But I will be at the shop. Come see me. Come say hi. Call me. Something I'll try and answer. John Kelly, yeah, get back in the Falcon. It's got social statement. Yeah, it does. I was amazed at the popularity of that car. I almost didn't even do any videos on it because I just didn't think you guys would be interested in the Falcon. And it's like, that's really a car not worth worrying about doing videos on. And I thought, well, why not? And then it just took off. Like, you guys love the videos on the Falcon, so you're going to get a video on putting rear springs in the Falcon. How about that? That's coming your way. Darwin Foster, what I like about your videos is that they're real and not full of bullshit. Yeah, that's what I try for. Like, I don't have the energy or the inclination to make them full of bullshit, to be like super polished or rehearsed, or it is what it is. Like I was trying to hammer that split pin into the steering box, the steering shaft, for that power steering conversion, and the pin went flying across the bench and landed somewhere where it wasn't meant to be. And it's like, I didn't cut any of that out. That's what happens. That's just what happens. I could have deleted that little clip and started again and done over and, got the pin driven in perfectly. And, I'm not trying to make out that I never make a mistake or that things don't always go right. It's just you've only got to hang around a workshop for a while and there's shit going wrong all the time, and you just have a laugh about it, or if you're working with someone, you give them shit about it, tell them they're an idiot, and you just have a laugh about it. Like it just happens. So yeah, I try and keep it as real as I can. I don't edit a lot out. If you ever see a little bit where you can see there's a little edit, it's usually because there's just a long pause, where I've misplaced a tool, I'm going to go find the damn thing or something, so it's just like blank video for 2 or 3 minutes, and it's like I'll edit that out. But yeah, if it doesn't, if it doesn't quite go to plan, or I smack my thumb with a hammer or do something stupid, then yeah, you guys just, that's my day. And yeah, I don't know. It seems like you guys appreciate it. It was interesting. I got a call from the guy who made that power steering kit, and he was, or message actually, not a call, but he was very appreciative of the videos, the 2 videos that I did of it, and I wasn't. I said, I gave the kid an A, not an A+, because there was a couple of little things that could have been, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, it could have been done a little bit differently. There was a couple of little things I had to just alter ever so slightly. But, I'm able to say that because they weren't paying me money, not a lot of money, not a little money, nothing. I didn't even get an extra discount on it, but like it was just good information for you guys. And there was a couple of things, and I think you guys appreciate that. It's like it's real. If they'd have paid me a couple of $1,000s to do the video and say it was wonderful and it was perfect and everything like that, I think the video and myself would lose some credibility with that. And that power steering kit that I did on the Buick, which was just an absolute shit fight. I told you about that as well, and hopefully you guys, to me, that's just building up a level of trust. It's like, what's shit is shit and what's good is good. And if I tell you it's good, then it is good. And I'll tell you if it's junk. So, oh, John Kelly, Ford parts in Australia, plenty. They built millions here. Tim Miller, Shelby used wagon drums to get a bit bigger. That makes sense. Yeah, especially on 9 inches. There was a lot of different drum variables on with the the old 9-inch. Barracuda, do you have a paint booth? I never did. Not when self-employed anyway. No, don't have a paint booth. When we're not really painting anymore, since Barry left, and we just pulled some big plastic curtains around, had some fans blowing out the side door, and away you went. Could get away with it because all the paint jobs we did were all color sanded. So if you did get a little bit of trash, a little bit of fluff settling in the clear coat, well, you were going to sand all the clear coat anyway, so you got rid of any trash like that. So you could get away with it. Collision shop, you've got to have a paint booth, because collision shops, their whole premise is that like what comes out of the gun is what gets delivered to the customer. So it's got to be good straight out of the gun. It's got to be super clean. So yeah, but, I mean, that. All right, guys. Well, it's 9:02. I'm fading. I'm about out of bourbon. So yeah. Yeah. John Kelly, repower steering, you're a hard marker. Totally understand. Well, I'm just telling him, telling it how it is. I mean, I'm thinking A on any kid is pretty good. But yeah, I just keeping it real. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I always do. 2 hours goes very quick. And yeah. I will see you next Tuesday. Same place, same channel. Don's manufacturing, time to get back on the roof. Jeez, it's a bit dark, a bit late at night to be getting on the roof, but anyway. All right, guys, we have a great one. Again, many thanks. Oh, the other thing I should mention is we hit 25,000 subscribers this week, which is just awesome. So I want to thank all you guys for subscribing, for watching, for all the comments you make. It really, it's a blast for me, and I really do appreciate it. So thanks so much, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, take care, guys.